Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Molnar here. How's everybody getting along? Thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather Northeastern and Weather Eastern. How about this lake effect snow? 2 to 3 feet off Lake Erie here, a little bit less off Lake Ontario. How long is this expected to last? Look at that. You see that blast of Arctic air there into Sunday. And then we get some milder temperatures breaking out. But what is going on here with our Thanksgiving storm? Well, the GFS has been trending a little bit farther to the west here. What is going on with this? Is this going to be correct? Bigger storm, bigger snows for Ohio rather than parts of the northeastern New England? Or do we still have a chance here in parts of the northeast? We'll take a look at the Euro. And as you can see here across the east, it's a big different story here with the Euro. You essentially have two pieces of energy that are pretty separated apart here. You see this big old low up here like an Alberta Clipper, and this energy down to the south. The Euro is saying that this will slide to the east, but this goes out to sea. Which one will be right? Let's take a look. And if you haven't watched my 2022-2023 winter weather outlook, a link is in the description down below and at the end of this video. Let's get into it. All right, we're going to start off with a big lake effect snow outbreak. So Thursday we saw that Arctic front come through. It disrupted the bands, but I'll tell you what, as we head through 2 a.m. Friday morning, look at this. South Buffalo, and then up towards, it's going to be getting up towards Watertown. These two bands are going to orient on this southwest flow. This is going to head these bands right into South Buffalo and Watertown areas. So if you're in these areas, you are probably going to want to hunker down here because you're not going to be going anywhere anytime soon once these bands set up. 3 to 4 inches an hour. We're looking at 2 to 3 feet, especially just south of Buffalo as we get towards the Dunkirk area, up towards the southern suburbs of Buffalo here. We're going to be looking at some tremendous amounts of accumulation. Look at this. This is 1 p.m. Friday. These bands do not move much. They're pretty much stationary. We will see some, look at this, some snow squalls here across southwestern and western Pennsylvania, maybe some up towards upstate New York, upstate central New York as well. But look at this. This is where the big show is going to be. And as we continue to head throughout the day, these are going to kind of bump to the north a little bit. You see back into the South Buffalo area. That's where we're really going to start to see those accumulations. And look at this, even Erie, and then just to the northeast here of Cleveland, you're going to start to get in on the act as well. So look at Watertown here. 4 p.m., you are in the thick of it as well, and that really orients itself even into the Adirondacks up here. But look at this. We start to get a little bit of weakening as we head throughout the evening. The flow pattern becomes a little less oriented and favorable to get those heaviest bands. But look at this. We start to intensify it again up towards Watertown, 11 p.m. Friday night. And look at this into South Buffalo. It looks like we're trying to re-strengthen this band as it starts to inch ever so slightly to the north. Look at this. This is by 2 a.m. Saturday morning. Dunkirk up through South Buffalo. You are getting into it and finally starting to break up towards Watertown here. So as this area of high pressure builds in for the weekend, a cold high, we're going to start to, at least Saturday, break up these bands. I wanted to show you here on the NAM3KM because it goes further out into the weekend. We have another Arctic front that's going to be blasting down, and you can see the demarcation zone here. Here it is. Here's that big snow squall band, and behind it, you can see this blasting cold air bringing these bands of lake effect snow. Now, this is going to be the big Arctic blast, one of the coldest ones we've seen this season. And watch this band. This is 11 p.m. Saturday night. And look at this. We can get to Sunday at 1 a.m. And here it is. You see the band. This will be traversing across much of upstate New York into Pennsylvania and New England as we get into Sunday morning and into Sunday afternoon. Okay, so the HRRR model here for snowfall accumulations. This is the one I'm really, really going with. I'm really in agreement with this. This is crazy totals. Let's zoom in. So here we go. Zoomed in. This is some craziness right here. And I think this has the potential to happen. Look at this. Watertown, 43 inches. And that's not the whole part of it. Look at that. We could be some of these later colors in the northern Tug Hill, especially just north of the Tug Hill here, getting into parts of the northwestern Adirondacks. We could be seeing like 44, 52 plus inches of snow. And look at this over here, 60 plus in some of these areas. not completely out of the question. I think maybe some of this, as a little feedback, it might be overdone slightly, but you know what? 3 feet plus is possible. I think we could go up to 48 inches in some of these really persistent. It's craziness, I know. Look at there, Buffalo, 13 inches, but look at just to your south in the southern suburbs. That's where you could be picking up some tremendous amount of snowfall here, especially on a southwest flow like this where the flow is so moist. And I don't want to leave you out here, Pennsylvania. Let's take a look at your snowfall totals right around the Erie, Pennsylvania area, right around a foot. That seems about right. Jamestown, 4.2 inches. Just to your northwest, Dunkirk. Yeah, you could be getting up towards that 2 feet, level. So definitely keep an eye on that. You might outperform there in Dunkirk as well. And as we take a look at Ohio, particularly northeast Ohio, yeah, HRRR, it does put, 2, 4, maybe 5 inches here northeast of Cleveland, but not as exciting down here. And of course, I wanted to show you the NAM3KM. It is a bit similar to the HRRR, just backed off a little bit to a little bit more realistic totals, but still in the 36 to 44, 48 inch range here just south of Buffalo. 38.5 there, right around Watertown. So yeah, our 2 big mesoscale models are on board here. All right, so picking up with the GFS here as we go through Monday and Tuesday, we do see another front here moving through the northeast on. This is Monday. You can see some snow showers picking up here across parts of the northeast. So yeah, we might have a little spin up here off the coastline. Look at this over here. Yeah, we're getting some big time maritime storms in the Canadian Maritimes over here. And look at this. We got some tropical moisture in the Gulf of Mexico heading across Florida here. So that's something we'll have to keep an eye on as well. I'll show you that quickly in the tropics later on in the video here. But look at this as we head through Wednesday. Here we go. Thursday. There's going to be 2 pieces of energy here. There's one up here in the upper Midwest and then one developing down here in the southeast. Now, the GFS kind of phases these a little bit quicker and brings them up the Ohio River Valley into the lower Great Lakes. You can see where the low pressure is and big old snows happening behind it in the Chicago area. This is the GFS. I'm going to show you the Euro momentarily, but look at this. We actually get some convection just ahead of this. So this could drag some pretty warm air up if this solution verifies. I'm not completely sold on this solution because the GFS has been bouncing around quite a bit. But look at this. This really strengthens it quite a bit over northern Ohio. And I'll show you the GFS surface map momentarily with the low pressures to see just how strong the GFS is indicating. But the main area of precipitation will be to the northwest, the north, and the northeast, bringing in some tropical moisture here into New England as well. So keeping you on the warmer side, but watch as we head in time here. This thing really cranks up and brings some lake-enhanced snowfall. This is Saturday at 10 a.m. So yeah, if you have any travel plans, any rain would be changing to wet snow here and then lake enhancement here across the lake. So this is definitely a setup we want to watch for as we get through the rest of Saturday into Sunday. Things clear out until we get another clipper, very weak clipper type system, another Arctic boundary moving through. And that could reinforce the shot of colder air here. All right, so here we go. Let's start off with the Euro. After the good old GFS kind of had some phasing, but it was much further west. Now I'm going to show you the upper air pattern here in just a few seconds here. Now take a look at this. This is that trough coming in Sunday. We have some sort of system here in the Gulf. Watch how this energy just evolves over time. So we have high pressure building in. This is Monday. Tuesday, we keep this stalled out front here in the Gulf. This is what you want to watch for this time of year, because if you can get a northern stream system to dive down like this, sometimes we can have some phasing here along the U.S. East Coast. Now, as we go in time here, take a look at this. This is Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. Look at all this energy here across the southern plains. Now, up here, you got a big old high supplying the East Coast here in the Northeast with plenty of cold air, but that quickly retreats to the Southeast. That's a quick retreat. That's not usually what we want to see for East Coast snowstorms. Instead, you have a big old low-pressure system here that's similar to an Alberta clipper, only it's a bit further north for one. And you start to see some snow and mixed precipitation here, but you see this energy here off the southeast coast. It doesn't quite get entrained to the north. So there is no phasing that happens here. Take a look at this. There's the low. This is Saturday after Thanksgiving, November 26th. Here's our energy, and they're too far apart. there's no phasing going on here. And watch how they just slide right off the coastline here. They will eventually phase, but it'll be way off the screen up in the Canadian Maritimes. Now, there's another system here on the Euro's radar here. This is Sunday, November 27th. We'll have to keep an eye on this as well. Let's take a look at the upper air. So I wanted to show you the GFS surface map here. Take a look at this. Show you how strong this low pressure gets in the Mississippi River Valley. This is Friday, just after Thanksgiving, the 25th. Take a look at this, 992 millibars. It's a deject right into the Ohio River Valley. Look how this plows up to 986 to 984 millibars here. So this will be a strong low-pressure system. Potential, if this solution does occur, blizzard-like conditions could occur on the backside of this low-pressure system. Now, there could be some convective-type thunderstorms here in the Northeast with this type of scenario as well. But I caution you, the GFS has been flip-flopping around, bringing lows up like this, lows up like this, lows up right through the center. So we have to let this event draw a little bit closer to get a better idea. The Euro doesn't even materialize this storm. All right, so what is the Euro doing here? Well, the weekend, it's a given. It's a hibernation time here across the east and northeast here. This is that big old massive high pressure ridge here in western North America. And look how this pinwheels. This is Sunday. Here's that next Arctic front that blasts across the northeast, but there's no chance of an East Coast snowstorm here with that either. And look how that just retreats. We get into that high pressure. We have another storm that cranks up here Thanksgiving Day. Look at all this ridge here, and you would think, okay, we don't have any chance of a storm. Well, look what starts to happen here. They get that energy diving down from eastern Canada, and we got that energy off the southeast coast. And if that energy were to come a little farther north here and combine forces and phase with this big old trough to the northeast, this is Sunday, November 27th, then we would see some sort of an East Coast snowstorm. But it doesn't look like the orientation is really favorable here on the Euro. Definitely something we want to keep an eye on, though. As we take a look at the GFS here, yeah, it's very similar to the Euro. Let's skip ahead here towards just after Thanksgiving. So, yeah, this is way different than the Euro here. Way different. We have a little bit of blocking up here in Greenland. The big difference is the big old trough is essentially right over the Mississippi and Ohio River Valley. So look at this. As we head in time, this kind of spins up. Essentially, you have high pressure blocking this on either side. So this strengthens it, and the low heads up, up the west spine of the Appalachians. It's not very favorable for snowfall along the northeast coast, at least with this pattern. So let's get that back here. So take a look at that. So that remains, you see how it just kind of slides off the U.S. East Coast at that point. So it's weakening at that point, Monday, November 28th. And behind it, we do see that Arctic blast coming in. But look what replaces it here. This is Saturday, December 3rd. This is the kind of stuff you want to watch out for. That could be a potential East Coast snowstorm. All right, so let's take a look at the polar vortex here. We'll take a look at GFS 10 millibar. See if we get any weakening here of the polar vortex so we can actually have pieces of it break down. Well, this is Monday, November 21st. Yeah, this is what you want to see here. See how it's kind of breaking into two pieces, and we don't see as much dark blue. We're seeing a piece of it break down here across eastern North America. Now, let's take a look at that as we head through Thanksgiving week here. Initially, the warm air is going to win out, but look at how this cell just really starts to converge here on eastern North America. This is Sunday, November 27th, right after Thanksgiving. This is indication that we're going to have this massive amounts of cold air blasting south here. And if we get any kind of storm that pushes into that from the south or the east, we're going to see a lot of snow. Now, that kind of retreats a little bit Wednesday, November 30th there. You see how this cell kind of retreats a little bit back up here beyond Greenland. So it lifts out a bit. You don't see as much of these pieces of the polar vortex, but we got a little opportunity there as we go in time, and you see how that kind of starts retreating back towards the North Pole and as we get towards northern Siberia here. So definitely something we need to keep an eye on here. All right, I wanted to show you the CFS model, the medium range climate model here, and we'll go into the rest of November here into December. So, as we head towards time, let's see, with the Thanksgiving storm, CFS is kind of bringing the storm kind of like the GFS. So, yeah, it might not be such a snow producer if this pans out. It's kind of looking that way. but we'll watch it here. We got plenty of time to watch it. But look at that. High pressure builds in for Tuesday, November 29th there across the east. We're just going to get a sense of the overall pattern here. And as we go in time, yeah, things are looking favorable there for potential East Coast snowstorms. We come that first week of December. And as we continue to kick it through mid-December here, look at this. Yeah, second week of December here, we could be looking at some more East Coast snowstorms here. And that's what you want to see, a ridge out west to get this troughiness in the east, and it could kick up. And look at this. Definitely, at this point, the NAO will be going negative. So that's great news. And look at that. That's a retrograde right there. This is right around December 11th. This is a big old East Coast low, and you see how it kind of backed up there into the coast. That's a mega block up there. So this thing essentially doesn't have anywhere to go. This could be a really interesting pattern. This is what you kind of get with blocking. You get systems that get stuck off the U.S. East Coast. But there we go. That blocking kind of kicks out, and then towards, this is December 19th here, a ridge seems to be taking over across much of North America. We'll see if they can get that broken down here before Christmas. So let's see what the CFS does with snow depth. Always interesting to look at this. So as we head towards Thanksgiving, yeah, it kind of retreats there. You see in the east. But let's see what it does here. There it is. Monday, December 5th. Kind of getting snowy up there in parts of the Northeast. Not exactly as snowy as we originally thought, heading into December, but we'll have to watch these trends because this is December 19th here. By this point, much of Canada will have snow cover. So this might help change things in terms of the cold air blasting to the south and whatnot here. All right, how's all my Caribbean friends doing down here and into Central America? Look at this. Yeah, things are pretty quiet here in the tropics, as can be expected this time of year. But look at this. You come out here in the intertropical convergence zone, it looks a bit more active than it should. You would be correct on that. And we got a little tropical wave down here in Panama. It's pretty far south for any development, though. But watch this as we go in time. Yeah, we got this little feature over the Western Gulf we're going to have to watch as we go out in time here. This is heading on into Saturday. So, yeah, this is going to bring some gully washers to much of the Gulf of Mexico and then eventually towards Florida. We have another tropical wave here in the southern Caribbean, just south of Jamaica here. Take a look at that. So we'll watch for that. Intertropical convergence zone doesn't look too big at the moment, but let's continue in time here. We'll take a look and see if there's any chance of development as we head late into the season here. Well, there's a couple features. There is a stalled out frontal boundary here across the Gulf. You want to watch this area. Also this area here heading towards Honduras and Nicaragua. This is towards Monday, November 21st. And look at this, east of the Lesser Antilles here. You have this feature, but there is a lot of wind shear out here. So as we go out in time, let's take a look and see what we got. Yeah, it looks pretty active for late in the season here. And I cannot rule out some sort of either subtropical storm or tropical storm. We might be looking at something here across the Western Caribbean or the Gulf of Mexico. One thing to note, too, this time of year, this is where a lot of East Coast snowstorms can form here in the Gulf of Mexico initially. So that could be, associated with that. And it looks like in time, that is exactly what it's going to morph into here. You can see one piece of energy going out here, which almost looks subtropical, and then whatever's left over is going to combine forces here with the upper low here, up here in the Midwest. Now, across the rest of the Atlantic, here we go. Yeah, there is a feature out here we'll continue to watch, but at least in the medium term, short to medium term, I don't see anything really developing. But yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. Monday, November 28th here. This looks pretty interesting. It's been popping up every so often on the GFS runs here. We'll continue to watch this. This could develop into something if you're in the Cayman Islands, Central America, Jamaica, any of these areas. Definitely keep a watch on this. I'll keep a watch on it for you. And it does look like it'll wash out here, but we'll keep an eye on it. All right, and in the Western Pacific, here we go. In particular, the Philippines, up to Taiwan, Vietnam. These are your storms for this time of year. They can be weaker than these super typhoons, but they can still pack a punch. Here we got a tropical wave moving through. Here we go. Let me get my pencil. Take a look at this. So this is Friday, 10 a.m. You're looking at a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity, some gusty winds, a little bit of wave action here along the central and southern part of the Philippine Islands. But you know what? I don't see any development here in the short term. Most of this is just a big old tropical mess. You can see we do have something that looks a bit more persistent as we get into Sunday here. It could develop maybe into something, maybe a tropical depression or tropical storm. As it heads towards Vietnam, look at this. Central Vietnam, we could have a tropical storm on our hands by Monday, this coming Monday, November 21st. Now look at this. It clears out across the Philippines. That's great news for you. Well, let's see if that remains. See if there's any tropical systems on the horizon. You see, we still have this frontal boundary across South China here. That's going to be interesting to watch to see if that actually heads to the southeast and scours out some of this tropical moisture. But look at this. As we head in time, the Philippines look very clear, and so do Vietnam and up to South China and Taiwan. Don't really see any development here until, look at this. This is November 30th. You see this feature out here. This kind of catches your eye. We're going to see if this can make it all the way here across the Western Pacific as we go in time. It's a bit far out. This is exactly what I was concerned about, though. Look how it goes typhoon on us here. You can see an eye starting to form. Yeah. So this would be Thursday, December 1st. This is pretty far out. We have plenty of time to watch this feature, but it is interesting to note. It does. The good news is, this far out, you really can't draw much into this or put too much into it. But it does look like maybe if we can get some sort of front to come along off of East Asia here and pick this up and move it to the northeast, maybe it won't affect any land. But we still, this far out, we could be several hundred miles to the south or to the north. So there's such a large area, or this storm might not even materialize. So, but the trend is there to have some sort of development here. It's been grabbing onto this every so often. So we're going to watch it here. All right, take a look at this, Jim. Some good captures from Fisher's Island, New York, as that trough is clearing out. This was this past Wednesday, November 16th here. Take a look at this. Beautiful, picturesque here. There's the ocean in the background there. Take a look at that. Oh, look at this. This is some beautiful sunlight coming through these very thin filtering clouds. And look at those waves kicking up there. Beautiful time for this time of year. Get out and enjoy that. And look at that. As that trough cleared out, so did the clouds. And there's that blue sky. Look at that nice green grass. Even this time of year, you still have a lot of plentiful amount of scenery. Look at that. Beautiful out there, Fisher's Island. Look at those waves. And look at that sunset. Some reds and oranges. Nice captures there, Jim. And also here, John, from the same day, Wednesday the 16th here. M60 to M62. Manchester, UK, motorways here. Take a look at that. Getting out there and enjoy it. It looks a little overcast, but there's some peaks of blue sky there. Getting out there and enjoying it. Nice capture there, John. Taking a look at temperatures here. We're starting off with Friday, TGIF. You see this big old blast of cold air. That's going to be heading towards the northeast for the weekend. So we start off into the 30s and the 40s here along the coast into the northeast. And that slips to the east here. You see 32 is a very popular number Saturday here across the northeast. But look at this. We head into Sunday and we get into the 40s here. This is ahead of that cold front up here. It's bringing a band of snow into the region. So the temperatures will be falling throughout the day Sunday. But look at this. Monday, we see a bounce back into the 40s here in the northeast. So we see kind of the wintertime temperatures retreating here for a bit up here in the northern plains. As we head into Tuesday, that kind of remains the freezing line way up there. And we don't have much of an exciting week until we get closer to Thanksgiving here. We do see a little bit of colder air in the 30s there north of the line there. So definitely interesting as we head into Thanksgiving week. Extended outlook from my hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton's Upper Susquehanna River Valley. Take a look at this. Friday through Tuesday, it is scattered snow showers. Friday, once again, it will be up to 37. Saturday, we clear it out nice, but clear and cold. A cold start as well, making up to the mid-30s, lows in the mid-teens. And then look at that. Sunday, we have the next Arctic front blasting through early, high near 31. Temperature falling throughout the day. Scattered snow showers setting up into Monday and Tuesday, sunnier and much warmer. Highs in the mid-40s. Thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather Northeastern. Don't forget, link is in the description down below for my winter outlook for this winter season. And also, if you want to buy me a coffee, tip jar also down below. You can find it down there. Also, Facebook MeteoMark. Also, Weather Northeastern. Also, Hurricane Northeastern. Also, Twitter at Weather Eastern. And don't forget, MeteoMark.com, WeatherNortheastern.com. Thanks for joining me.